Guess we'll give people like 5 minutes to get in. Yeah, sure.
Hello.
Tony, sure, you
Hello.
can come in. Scotty, Dr. Lucini, Amanda, welcome. Hey, Mark, welcome. We're just waiting for people to
Cool.
funnel in. Hey, Anita,
Hi.
give people a couple more minutes to get on in. We can start at like 6:04:05. Try to see if we can get quorum before we start. Hey, Ty.
I can't, this is Anita. I can't get my camera to work. So, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. Good enough.
Good to hear your voice, Anita.
Thank you. Good to be here. Well, not really. I was enjoying Mexico, so 80-degree days. So come back to this.
I know, right? Come back to winter storms and a whole lot
I
of
blame my
snow.
husband's bad luck. I blame my husband's bad luck. If
Tell
it
your
weren't for
husband,
bad luck, he'd have none at all.
tell your husband we don't need no more snow. So let's get him
Yeah,
some good luck for the rest of the time being.
yeah. It's snowing again.
I know. I was just gonna say it's snowing right now. They said it was gonna be snowing until tonight.
Why
Unfortunately,
not?
we already got 16. How much? What's another 4, right?
Yeah, really. Nights like this, I appreciate not driving out.
Yeah,
But I miss being with everybody.
yeah, I can agree to that. I miss ordering them nice dinners.
Oh, I know, I miss those too. I mean, I miss your happy faces, but I miss the food.
Carmen, you can get started at 6:05 if you like.
Okay. I have the Jeopardy music playing in my head.
And we don't have quorum yet, um, but we might establish it as people come into the meeting.
Okay. All right. So good evening, everyone. My name is Carmi Ann Foster, and I'm pleased to serve as your co-chair for this evening's meeting. It is March 17th, 2026, and I now call our meeting to order. This is our March meeting of the Equity Advisory Committee in accordance with Robert's Rules of Order. I'll begin this evening by reading our Dakota Land, Water, and People Acknowledgement. The Metropolitan Council acknowledges that the land we currently call Minnesota, and specifically the 7-county region, is the ancestral homeland of the Dakota Oyote, who are present and active contributors to our thriving region. as a part of the Metropolitan Council's commitment to address the unresolved legacy of genocide, dispossession, and settler colonialism, and the fact that government institutions, including the Metropolitan Council, benefited economically, politically, and institutionally after the forcible removal of the Dakota Oyote, the Metropolitan Council is dedicated to instilling land, water, and people commitments in regional policy. These commitments support the Dakota Oyote, the 11 federally recognized tribes in Minnesota, Ho-Chunk Nation, and the American Indian community representing over 150 diverse tribal nations that call the 7-county region home. With that, I'd like to extend a warm welcome to all of members of our committee, as well as members of the public joining us this evening online. This meeting will proceed until 8 p.m. or until all our business is concluded, and we appreciate your participation. For those watching remotely, we're streaming live on YouTube, and our meetings take place every third Tuesday of the month from 6 to 8 p.m. Tori, if you could do our roll call for us, or should we wait until you believe we've established quorum to do that? You're on mute.
I can go ahead and do roll call, and then as we establish quorum, if we don't establish quorum now, I know a couple people just came in. If we have 7 people on, then we've established quorum. So I'll go ahead and do roll call, and then from there, we can see.
Okay.
All right, thank you. So I'll go ahead and proceed. Zachariah Abdullahi. Is that you with the 952 number?
That's me. That's Mitchell Hansen.
Okay, that's Mitchell. Hey, Mitchell. Okay, thank you for that.
Council. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Council member Tony Carter.
Here.
Council member Dr. Tyrone Carter. He's out today. He's excused. Carmian Foster.
Present.
Mitchell Hansen. Here.
Present.
Samira Issa. Michael Lucini. Dr. Michael Lucini.
Here. Here.
Yeah. Council member Yassine Osman. Council member John Pacheco. Anita Urena Davis.
Here.
Markia Knight. And Astrid Benedetto.
Present.
All right, so I just wanted to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have 6 people on, and if one more person come in the meeting, then we'll establish quorum.
Thank you. Please notify me if that happens.
I will.
As a reminder, members should have received handouts via email. All meeting materials are also accessible on the Metropolitan Council's EAC webpage, located at metcouncil.org. I neglected to mention, along with my welcome, there are several members of our committee who may be observing Ramadan this evening. We invite members to take care of themselves as needed and step away should you need to for any reason. All right, because quorum is not established, we will delay the approval of our agenda and the approval of our minutes from last meeting. If quorum isn't drawn before the conclusion of this meeting, we will delay approval of those items until our next meeting. All right. Sorry, I just have to scroll by those items here. All right. We now invite members of the public to address the committee. If you wish to speak, please note that you must have pre-registered online prior to this meeting. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to share their comments. Is there anyone present or online who has registered to speak during the public comments? All right.
We don't have anyone online that is registered. We just have one member of the public that just will be observing today.
Thank you. So seeing no one present, we will move on to the next item on our agenda for today. Our presenters today are from the Metropolitan.
I think we lost Carmian. Let her come back in. Give her 1 minute.
I apologize sincerely. Teams hates me. So our presenters today are from the Metropolitan Council Civil Rights Unit. Um, They will be speaking today for an introduction and accessibility compliance policy and procedure review. For this segment, we are pleased to welcome Scotty Carter, manager of the Civil Rights Unit, who will present this topic. Each presenter has 20 to 30 minutes, depending on the needs of your presentation. We will follow that by 15 or so minutes for questions from the committee. Before we begin, just 2 reminders. For the record, presenters, please state your name and title of your presentation when you start. And for attendees and committee members, please write down and hold all questions until the Q&A period at the end of the presentation. With that, Scotty, the floor is yours.
Good evening. Thank you to everyone who's on the Equity Advisory Committee for being here and inviting me. And I see my team is here today too. So thank you for being warm for us on this cold Tuesday outside. So my name is Scotty Carter. I am the manager for the Civil Rights Unit that is housed within the OEEO. As it says on the screen, we're the newest unit in the OEEO. I have been here since mid October. So I like to make a joke. So I've been here for like 8 hours or so. But I can tell you in those 8 hours, we've had a blast. We've enjoyed ourselves and really have come to grow and to really do a lot of work. Tonight, what we will do, and I should also note, you may hear my kids in the background, just in case you do. That's just the way it is. So if you hear them or then one of them pops on the screen, we're just gonna be here together in community. I have 2 presentations for you. There's a quick one with the introduction to the CRU, which is our team. And then I have another presentation for you to talk about the digital accessibility policy and procedure that we're pushing on developing, really trying to get into the Met Council. And so you all will see both of those. I will try to be brief, but also leave space for questions. And really looking forward to to connecting with you all. So with that being said, here we go. So the Civil Rights Unit, our purpose statement is that the Civil Rights Unit leads the Met Council civil rights compliance with Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and amendments, and compliance with ADA Title II, which covers public entities and public transportation. Essentially, that is saying that for us, our unit is making sure that the Met Council is compliant, particularly with our civil rights, focusing in on Title VI, which deals with race and ethnicity and discrimination, and also Title II, more the ADA components of bus space. And so that's a vast undertaking, one that we're happy to be working on, but that's something that we are very mindful of as well in terms of making sure that we're compliant. I tell my team, and we talk about this often, how like we don't, the compliance is just the baseline. We actually want to be better than compliance. We want to have our standards to be higher than our compliance takes, right? And it's another way to say this is we don't want to invite unwelcome attention into our agency. This happens when we are not compliant. And when we are not compliant, the federal government takes interest, especially in our non-compliance, and then we are faced with litigation, both from the federal government and from other entities as well. So we manage that. And so here is lovely pictures of my team. On the far left, it's me, Scotty Carter, the manager. You have Shireen Edwin, who is our Title VI consultant. And then you have Mark Salamander, who is our ADA consultant as well. And so we are the mod squad. We are the group, with Three Musketeers. We really come and get to work for all things dealing with our civil rights, and particularly 88 and Title VI. There is a little bit of Title VII, which is religious accommodations as well that we cover, but that's just the name of our group or purview of our group. And so some of the policy and authority resources. So I list this out for you all to see, starting with Title II, Title VI, and Title VII, just to make the point that we are codified, we're in statute, both state and federal. So our work matters, and our work is embedded into the laws. Just case in point, I got this question before. Executive orders do not supersede Congress and the laws. And so until they change the civil rights laws, until they change into the actual take it out of the statute, we will follow those laws. Now, we will make mention, or we make note of there's a situation, just like as you all may have been aware of, there was executive orders talking about disparate impact, right? And what does that show up for, right? We will note that, and we will say, hey, that's what's going on with the executive order. We will note that. But our guiding principle, or our North Star, is the codified statute that's in government. And so I just wanted to stress that's where our authority comes. That's where we pull it from. And alongside, we have our affirmative action plan. We have other plans as well, other policies as well, that give us the authority to come in and say, hey, what's going on with some of these issues and concerns. So here's some of the roles and responsibilities. I know this may not, you all have access to the actual deck, but if you want, take a look at it for yourself. But for us, the way we give out our work is for our employees and for honestly our community. We want to create an environment free of discrimination and facilitate a culture of respect. If we make sure that we are complying with all our rules and regulations, all the things that are given in our civil rights, laws and regs, then every employee should feel safe. They should feel that they should feel empowered. And so we do this in a lot of ways, not only just with our compliance, but we also really help our divisions and help other other groups within the Met Council to understand, what does it actually mean. So for example, a big thing we'll talk about, one of the policies we're working on later, but accessibility, right? What does it mean for us to be an accessible agency? What does that look like, right? Oftentimes people don't think, and employees as well, employers as well, don't think about what does it mean to be accessible? What does that look like? What does it come across, right? What technology do we have available, right? And it is our job to make sure that we are having those conversations and working to get us to compliance and beyond. And so one such way that we do that is, we promote language inclusivity, like through the language access plan and a limited English proficiency plan, right? Because we know in Minnesota, not everybody speaks English. And so we have documents to help our bus riders and help that are posted within our facilities, to know some of the rights and regulations that they have. So, for example, and many of our garages, I think the ones I've been to, I've seen it posted up, you will see our Title VI statement. But not only will you see our Title VI statement, you'll see it written in different languages as well, that everyone can see that access to it, right? So we are thinking about, in one form, one way, that's how we serve the community in terms of like, hey, accessibility through language, right? Another space that we occupy in the CRU is dealing with complaints. We receive complaints when it comes to race, and we receive complaints when it comes to ADA or accessibility issues. I would tell you that the number one complaints we get from from bus and rail and whatnot is ADA complaints. So we get those. and we facilitate those and we resolve them, and we try to make sure we get them to the right person if it's not us, but we resolve them, and we get, making sure that we do it in a timely manner, which is very, very important. We also right now run our religious accommodation requests for our employees. So we're just talking about, like, it's now Ramadan, for example, right? Well, some of our employees are of the Muslim faith, and so we hold those complaints, or we hold those conversations, or really it's actually a process in place where someone's like, hey, like, I'd like to observe this based on my religious belief. What do I go to? And we've reworked that whole system to ensure that every employee, if they have a religious accommodation, that we're able to hear them and make sure we are able to go through the whole process to see if they can practice. Now, the reason why I say see is because there is a burden. It's called undue burden, or I'm sorry, undue hardship. That's kind of the standard that when we weigh whether or not religious accommodation is acceptable, or we can do it here at Met Council, we have to look and say, does it create an undue hardship to the business? And we do that for every employee, every opportunity that comes across us. We don't just say, oh, well, we handled this before. It's not cut and paste. We go through the interactive process to make sure every employee is heard when it comes to those spaces. Okay, so let me make sure I don't talk too long on this one, because I got some more to talk about. So here's some of our progress and impact spaces. So some of these that we've done so far is, we've met with and connected with all divisions within the Met Council. That's one of our goals. We're connecting with a lot of people. We're in a lot of meetings, just letting people know that we exist and what we can do and what we can partner with. And so we're also trying to measure what completed projects that we have, which is a lot considering we just started, 5 months ago as a unit, and so we have a whole bunch. And so just for FYI, I sit on the Transportation Accessibility Advisory Committee, and I sit on that committee with them. So I'm also presenting and giving a voice from OEO in terms of what are we seeing in those spaces as well. And just paying attention, honestly, to any Title VI and Title II issues. So that's just very, 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 very important. And so here's another kind of conversation about the ADA functions, right? And so we are really, really focused on making sure that we're accessible in programs and services, but just accessible all around, and that just includes digitally, which we'll jump into in a few minutes. But these are some of the things that we're working on. And so once again, you will have access to this, and so just some of the things we are just trudging through, making sure that we find, and make sure that Met Council is really, really increasing their accessibility efforts. And so this is important. And so these are some of the progress and impacts. And then also, like, here's some of the Title VI functions. Once again, one of these we're looking at. So there's just a lot of content for you to take a look into. You have more questions about it, happy to answer them. But I wanted just to make sure I gave space for, like, some of the stuff that we're doing, some of the stuff that we're working on, and to kind of get to know who we are. And one of those big project we're working on is called the website accessibility, which I'm going to jump to in a moment. And so, but before I do, I like to do this. If you took nothing away, you didn't hear anything I just said for the last 10 or 15 minutes, right? What do? We are your civil rights unit here at the Met Council. We're here to serve you. We're here to be of service. Our scope of influence is Title VI. Title II, this is all codified in statute. This is law, and here to ensure that accessibility and our entire agency and others have a safe environment to show up for. So are there any questions about the actual unit, about what we do, or anything in that regard?
One question. I should have raised my hand in the background. I apologize.
No worries, Commissioner Gray.
Okay, there it is. All right. I am just really glad to hear from you today. Wondering, since you are new, and of course, your role of education and providing information and all of that long term, for the duration of time will ensure the visibility and the information gets out and people are aware of what recourse they may have in circumstances that are uncomfortable or perhaps unjust in accordance with the various titles and rights that you are working to ensure. At this point in time, particularly for such a time as this, where there has been so much concern for fear and intimidation, um, are we doing something to highlight this work and to ensure individuals in our employ of the pathways they can take at this time? It just seems to be an incredible and unimaginable time for this work to be coming up. So I'm wondering how you're approaching the unusual moment that we are in. Is there anything special that you might share with me that we are doing toward that end?
Thank you, Councilwoman. And I am just glad that you acknowledge the work and see the things that we're doing. So thank you for that, because it matters. So for us, we I say we've been going on listening tours, we've been going to different spaces and having very frank discussions about the work that we do. Um, I'm liable to go, pull up on an executive and have a conversation. Say, can I meet with your division? Can I meet with your spaces? So, for example, we've been in front of Metro Transit several times and had a different conversation with each of the divisions. And so, when you get to say you're a new person, you're a new kid on the block, you get to kind of go and kind of have your space and trying to have just conversations. We are also working on our strategic plan on how do we not only introduce ourselves to the council, but help people to utilize our services in terms of helping people to understand that this work is important. And I think people don't understand just how important this work is and how we can't just skirt by it. And also just being informational and clarifying issues. So for example, I have had conversations with different groups about the difference between executive order and codified statute, right? And to share what is that conversation. And I've had that conversation with legal and say, hey, look, here's the conversation. My background is I'm a lawyer by training. And so I love to have a conversation. It's like, hey, no, when are we moving out of for lack of a better word, fear, versus when are we moving out of a position of power? And I think it's not, no, I know civil rights it's not going anywhere. It's too, not only is it too profitable, this is just from a money standpoint, but the a lot of stuff that is built our foundation to America is built off those civil rights. A lot of progress has been made because of civil right laws and regulations. And so just reminding people of that and say, hey, look, here are the things. Now, I think it's also important to admit that we're in unprecedented times, and that's the language I use. we are in unprecedented times. I'm a political science major, and I could not have told you I would have seen some of the things that we have seen in this political climate. Um, but the lawyer in me and the political scientist in me always goes back to the law. What does the law say? And right now, you need Congress to come in and change the laws. And so reminding people of that. And I think also the last thing I'll say, Councilwoman, about this as well, is visibility is important in these space. We don't need to shrink in these moments. We need to stand and we need to be visible. And so I take that to heart. My team takes it to heart. Um, I've gotten this feedback that despite you've been here for 5 months, you've been everywhere, and people have seen you and they've seen your face, and they've done profiles of my team in The Wire. Like, so we are not hiding our faces and what we do, because we don't want to shrink in these moments, and I think that's a good way that we carry ourselves. So, thank you for the question.
And thank you.
If there are other members of the committee with questions, please feel free to use your hand raised icon and we can go from there.
Anita,
Anita,
you're on mute.
Yeah.
You're on mute.
Sorry, that was me. I was the chair of the Civil Rights Commission for about 12 years. And one of the things that I found was the easiest way to explain civil rights or the rights of individuals to people as I would talk about civil rights or human rights, and not just to employees, but people, residents, and anybody that had that conversation, was the easiest way for people to understand it is to remember that everybody has the right, equal rights to know and to be able to receive information. I think just making it simple like that, because a lot of people won't read the full language. A lot of people have misconceptions about what civil rights means to them personally versus how they see communities of color or an individual of color, and what does that mean for a white person talking to a Latino, for example. But if we're working, and I used to do outreach work too, and it was always when I talked to my coworkers, if I said simply, when you're doing your work, think of it as everybody has the right to receive the information that you're working on. And everybody has the right to access that information. So how do you make it equitable? And that's the thing to think about when you're doing your work and when you're in conversations and you're out and about. I think it's just the simplest. That's actually just my personal opinion. I just found the conversation to be easier that way.
No, thank you. I appreciate that. It's I love your my experience too. We're always thinking about uh, thinking about how to say it right and how to break it down. And it's more simple than we make it, and we tend to make it more grandiose. I always kind of go back to saying like it's about human dignity. I think about that. Thinking, how do we respect human dignity, and to have a conversation from there. But thank you again for your question. Is there any more questions, or um, give it to our next PowerPoint? Seeing none, I'll go ahead and pivot. So let's see, showing my screen now. Oh. So I am going to try to do a really good job of not um, this project. I mean, this PowerPoint could be a lot. It's a lot of information. If you have access to it, you've seen it. It gave a lot of background information to kind of tell you what are we working on, what are we talking about. But to kind of explain where we are in this space. And so we this is before me, before I got here, but because as April, for instance, this is where we're at now. But before, there became a need to see that, you know what, our website was not accessible. That's a nice way to just say it. Let's just simply put it. It just was not accessible. It was not up to the lane. It was not at the standard. And if we didn't meet that requirement, the federal government was going to come and have something to say. And it was not going to be something nice to say. It was going to be something to be like, hey, what are you doing? And this gave us an opportunity to take a look at our websites and say, hey, how do we get it to be accessible? How do we get it to the standards that is necessary? And so this information is just the state and federal regulations basically saying that we need conformance. Conformance is required, which I have another slide that shows this, but it's basically saying, like, you know what, you don't need to be 100%, but you need to be you get pretty close. And we weren't close. Like, we just weren't close. And so what bore out of that, working to get our website to be to conformance, to make sure we were on the up and up with our accessibility, what came from that is we needed updated policies and procedures. And so my colleague, Mark, who's on the call, really came in and really helped guide the work in terms of having policies for digital accessibility that help policies and procedures that help guide Met Council to stay on the trajectory of being accessible and really helping us to rethink what does accessibility look like in a digital space. Just to be candid, there's not that much guidance that we've had so far. And so this was a really glaring need that we have to work on. And so just to give you a little bit more levity in this space, I've been here for 5 months. Mark's been here for 4. So Mark came in right after me. And so, kind of really got to work on making sure that we are compliant and not getting sued by the federal government and being, use other adjectives that the federal government might be doing to us. So here are the things that you should know. The law requires us to be, the law requires compliance to standards. We need to have a feedback loop and a document loop. We need to have accessibility contact points. That is just having someone within the different departments to be able to contact if there's some issues or concerns. Because we might lead this work, but we're not, like, this is work that we all need to be a part of. Like, this is just not up to 2 people, up to 3 people. This is something that we need to have the entire agency built upon. So then we need to have reporting mechanisms and, conversation around emergency deployment. And so in the deck that I sent out here, there are the updated procedures that are here. So, like, if you click on the link, you can actually go and look at it. So if you're able to put up the document, you have access to it. And so you can see where we updated it. You can see the new information as well. And you can see the old, like, for reference, the policies, right? We thought it was important to have a conversation, especially having a conversation with Lila, that was important that you all had an opportunity to look at the policy and provide feedback on what you thought. Because this is not just from us, right? It's for everyone. It's for our entire agency. And so this will be no greater space, but to give it to you all to take a look into and just to kind of give us your thoughts and provide feedback for us. And just understand that we are really trying to build the foundation of our accessibility plans and how we show up here at the Met Council with our accessibility issues, especially in the digital space. And so this is some of our next steps. So we're going to build out what it means to be have an accessibility contact point. We're going to have a trial run of some of the policy procedures that we've been putting in place. We're really trying to ramp this up. We want to make sure that we get this in place, especially because the April deadline will be here soon, and we want to be able to show that we have made substantial progress in our accessibility journey. So when the federal government comes to call in, we can show some of the work that we have. And so this is our next steps. I will. Well, I'll just. Okay, I see your hand, Councilwoman. You can go ahead.
I'm sorry, but I would like to ask you to slow down to
Okay.
describe what you need us to do to provide that feedback. I'm on the screen trying to click and not getting the document that you're talking about. So forgive me. There may be others who, like me, may need a little bit more instruction there.
No, that's perfectly fine. So, Councilwoman, you're saying when you click on the link, it's the document's not coming up for you?
Yeah.
Because okay. Let me see if it comes up for me. Okay. So it did come up for me, but let me see.
Okay.
Let me see if I can get this all to you all.
Maybe in the chat. I don't know if we can use the chat. That's a good question. Can you address that, Tori?
Yeah, let me.
We've been asked not to use the chat because it's not accessible to. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So
Well,
just,
I will. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, maybe we can get that back to you after the meeting.
Yes, ma'am. I can do that. I will get you all a copy of the procedures that we're talking about. We'll have a version for you, and then that way you can all take a look at it.
Apologies and thank you.
Yeah, that's not a problem. So I guess what I will do, since we can't look at those procedures right now, I can give you some more background information. Would that be
And I'm
more
not so sure that others cannot. And it's just me right now.
Yeah, so it probably is. It's only gonna. I'll take ownership of that because it could just be like clicking because it could be external. I don't know. I will figure it out though. I see another hand. I think.
You're off mute, Mitchell, but we can't hear you. So maybe go up to your top where you see your mic.
By the way, Anita just mentioned it's the document that Tori sent on March 4th.
Yeah, I found the documents on the March 4th email that Tori sent us. It had all the attachments, the agenda, the meeting minutes, and this was the first PowerPoint.
Got it.
So if those of you are able to open that document and follow along.
Thank you.
Doing that now. Apologies.
And while folks are doing that, Anita did have her hand raised. I'm sorry, not Anita. Astrid did have her hand raised as well.
Hi, for me, when I click on the link from the PowerPoint that Tori sent, I had to sign into Met Council with the Met Council email address, and I do not have that, so I'm not able to see the PowerPoint.
Can you download it?
I'll resend the let me raise my hand. Sorry about that.
Yeah, give me a second. I'll just show it on my screen.
And I can also send out the PDFs of those so that you guys don't go through that after this meeting.
Give me 1 second. Sorry about all that, but we'll just pivot and make it work. but then we can send it out. All right, I'm trying to pull it up now. Let's see. Can you all see my screen? Okay, so sorry, I'm trying to get out of this space. Hold on. Second. Did it stop sharing? I love technology. That's fine. Okay, I'm trying to get a clean copy. This is the one that I'm accessing it, but so and I will send, or we will have access to a cleaner copy for you all to take a look into. So, just as a FYI, we're also migrating this stuff, so that's also why it's not a polished procedure. This is what we're working on. So you all will have a cleaner copy than the one that I'm showing you currently. But I know this is not the best way to look at it, so I can also try to zoom in as well. So this is the purpose here. It's a pretty long also procedure as well. It says 15 pages. This is just for 3A. We have 3B as well.
Scotty, would you mind just highlighting maybe some of the major areas in the procedure? We can absolutely follow up and send out another copy and we can show some of those highlights, but it might be beneficial to the folks on the committee to maybe focus on some of the areas that you could really use their feedback on. So, maybe choose 2 to 3 areas to highlight. And then we can follow up with the additional documents.
Yeah. So I can definitely do that. And as even, so some of the issues or concerns that we're looking for are like, so our procedures, we needed something that developers, content authors, and authorized employees could use, and something that just made sense for all parties involved, like from our managers and everyone across the board. And so, So some of the changes, actually, I have a slide for this, so this actually might be a little easier to show. I'll show this slide. And this might be a little bit more helpful. So again. So this is some of the reasons why we're asking to take a look at it and why we're suggesting the changes. So the original was too vague. It was missing requirements. We needed some technical standards. And we also needed to speak and define things like emergency deployment. And so that was the space that we were looking into in terms of like why we needed to suggest the changes. And that's just for OEEO 31A. And so when you are taking a look into it and seeing the actual document in of itself, those are some of the ideas that we want you to look for. Like, do you feel it's too vague? Do you feel like the testing requirements make sense? You know, like you said, does it make sense? Does it read? Could you follow it? I think that's very important too, because sometimes when we write procedures and policies, we have to write it for everyone to understand it, and so that's another reason why we wanted to bring it in front of you all here today. And then sorry. So then that also kind of goes into why we're talking about a new procedure as well, because we wanted to have defined roles and responsibilities. We wanted to make sure there was like centralized documentation in terms of what we wanted to hold people accountable, honestly, to some of this work. And we couldn't do that until we felt that we had to create some more procedures and update the old procedures, or OEO 31A, and then created 31B. So, so these are some of the things that we asking about or thinking about. So when you are looking at this, please keep this in mind. Once again, this is also part of your the deck that I sent out, or the second deck. This is under the additional information, because we just thought like, hey, we might as well give you everything and you can take a look, and so it'll help when you are reviewing the documents. And once again, I apologize for not having that available for you all sooner, or in a feasible place. I thought the link worked and hadn't thought about me just clicking on my work computer. So I'll take ownership for that. So also to just, I guess the last thing I'll say before I'll take any questions that may come up is that this is a work in progress, right? So we are working on this. So this is a review type of space. And so we wanted to show it to you all because we thought it was very valuable, but also it is a work in progress. So like your feedback, sometimes people ask you your thoughts and your feedback, and it's like, oh, it's so far along down the process. We're not there. We are in a space where like your feedback would be welcomed and appreciated. So I will stop here and just remind everyone, what we'll do is get those procedures for you all to take a look into. We even can just kind of highlight that, make it simple, and then just remind you to like go back to the documentation to see if there's any feedback that you want to give.
Thank you so much.
Sorry, go ahead.
Thank you so much for your presentation. Committee will now open the floor for discussion time. Please use your hand raise icon to indicate your desire to participate.
I think you got one hand raised, Carmen.
I'm sorry, it's not showing up on my end.
It's from
Michael
Mitchell.
Hansen or Mitchell Hansen, please go ahead.
Hey, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, my security settings are wild. First of all, I just want to say, like, I mean, this seems like a new
and like you're new in this department. This is new, and I just want to say like welcome, like, to the Met Council. And this is not easy stuff. Especially I've had to go through a lot of stuff with changes with the administration that are very complicated, very difficult to explain, and stuff like that. And I know that this will make more sense as we go on, completely. So I really appreciate it, and I look forward to going through it. I'm just wondering, so in terms of feedback, how would you like us to do that, like within a doc, or I guess just where should that be going?
Yeah, that's a great question. Since we'll be sending out copies to you all, you can just make a difference in the actual document, and we'll gather the feedback. So if you want to make, like, I don't know, track changes, if you look in the actual document, that'll be fine. And also,
I'm sorry.
Sorry,
We
go
have
ahead.
questions. We have questions. Should we just be reaching out directly to y'all, or I guess I'm just wondering that because I'm kind of a questions guy. So anyone who
We
knows me,
welcome all questions. The questions
Okay.
you can send them to me. Those are happy for. We'll also send out our email address and our contact information, and you can feel free to answer. I'll answer any of the questions that you have. But yeah, so just your feedback, track changes work fine, and just send it back to us. That'll be fine.
I appreciate you.
And thank you for the welcome. I appreciate that. Thank you very much, and your grace during this.
Lila, you had your hand raised.
Thank you, co-chair. I wanted to mention that you can leave the remarks on the document. We are required to have sort of the feedback shared in the public setting, in the public meeting. But what we'll do is, since Scotty is open to receiving feedback directly, please feel free to reach out to him or his team directly if you have questions or feedback. And then we'll invite Scotty and Mark and Shireen back, and they can talk a little bit about the feedback and how it was used. And, not right away, Scotty, but down the road, you can certainly come back and share that in the public space.
Thank you for that clarification. Commissioner Tony Carter.
Thank you. I have one more question, and I'll be getting in and looking to see, there are a lot of links, I think, that describe the procedures and describe the requirements. So it's kind of hard to just look in and give that immediate feedback. You have to follow the links and, at least that's what I'm thinking right now. So we'll need to take some time to do that very deliberately. And I want to do that, but I also want to ask a question now that maybe won't be clear to me when I do all the searching. And that is, somewhere I saw 2 feedback loops mentioned. One was about a document feedback or a document loop. One was a feedback loop and one was a document loop. The feedback loop kind of feels simpler. What does it mean when I see document loop?
And Commissioner Carter, can you clarify if you were referring to Scotty for that feedback or to Lila?
Oh, no, I was referring to Scotty. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I apologize.
No problem. Thank you for your question, and thank you for the feedback about, I think, about accessibility with this. So thank you again for kind of like just having a kind of conversation about how accessible this actually is. And so I really appreciate that. I think it'll be better I'll ask Mark, my counterpart, to kind of talk about it in the particular 2 different loops. They explain it a little bit differently than I would. So Mark, you're on the call. If you can come off mute and explain it to the councilwoman, please. Councilman Carter.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Can everyone hear me? Great.
Yes.
First of all, thank you for having us, and it's great to meet you all virtually. To answer the question, so a feedback loop, basically, there's a gap between of communication when it comes to reporting issues for public-facing websites. I'll give you an example. Like when Let's say Metro Transit receives a complaint, it goes through their system, and then I would scramble to figure out who owns that digital product or service or website. And that can take a couple of days, just to figure out what the issue is, who owns it, and what the remediation should be. So for the feedback loop, what happens is everything now becomes centralized through the accessibility contact points, and then we receive feedback through one, understanding what the reports are, and then two, what the trends are leading to, which allows us to preemptively work towards better compliance and ensuring that these issues do not reoccur again. As for the documentation, so this centralizes documentation of any digital accessibility report, whether it's pertaining to websites or digital services that we provide. This helps us understand what the current reports look like, but as well as like if we need to go back to a report, here's the main central documentation port or file or whatever system we decide to proceed with. We can go back, we can see every single step that was taken during that process, whether it's the first time it was reported to us, remediation process, whether or not we discussed alternatives, whether there was an emergency deployment triggered, for example. All of that information is usually provided in that centralized documentation. So it just makes it easier for us, one, to be compliant, but two, for accessibility purposes, if we come back to this, we can always refer to the documentation and see where we did best, where there needs to be more development, but also for us to kind of keep track of things. I hope
I
that answers the
appreciate
question.
that. Yes, that does. And thank you very much. I guess it would help us also from a public facing perspective to be able to not repetitively reinvent the answers that we come up with, but to have access to the responses that can be again utilized. So yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for summarizing in a succinct way. We have found that there's a lot of repetition in a lot of things we're doing too, and that just speaks to what's the language I was told. Met Council is a complex agency, a complex space, and so there is a level of making sure that we can be more centralized. Some of the stuff that we're doing, just so we can just stop the duplicitous efforts that happen. So, thank you, Mark, for your technical expertise. I appreciate you. Any more questions for me?
I guess there's no one to call on me since I'm the co-chair. Carmi Ann Foster here. I'm wondering, when policy change happens, there tends to be like retraining internally, so folks know that the policy change is taking place. But in community, the narrative of, oh, their website is inaccessible tends to get out there, and then folks may not think to circle back when you guys have made the updates. I wonder how this change is going to be rolled out to community, and if there's any like communication strategy planned around come see our bright shiny new website kind of a thing.
That is an excellent point. That's something we need to think about a little bit more. Because if I gave you my off the cuff answer, it's like, oh, like I don't think we make an announcement. Oh, come see our new website that's now up and running, right? Like we and to be kind of just more kind of for their word transparent. Not that I'm not transparent, but just speaking a little bit more vulnerably, I think people have had that the website, but we can work with communication spaces within the Met Council to see about what kind of plan can be put up. Hey, just FYI, some strategic. But I mean, community does notice. I think that's they notice. This will be a partnership with definitely with communications as well. Like, hey, what can we do? What normally happens in these situations when we need to get people to so
Yeah, I appreciate that. Often disenfranchised folks, instead of advocating for the change they need, just start avoiding those places, right? And spaces and find other ways to get their needs met. So I think that some, affirmative like outreach might be good to get people, back in the space. Thanks. Others, please feel free to raise your hand if you have questions or feedback. Mitchell Hansen.
I mean, hate to reiterate the same thing, but I just want to say thank you. Really, I'm looking forward to reviewing this and looking forward to commenting and asking questions, and just appreciate y'all. And it seems like a monumental task. And looking forward to help in any way that I can. And yeah, I know this is very complicated, so, but I think you did a great job, and I'm looking forward to moving forward and just kind of seeing how we can be supportive. So thank you.
Oh, thank you both for your additional comments. I think it's really helpful for us. And we have other members of OEO on here. We do care about its community and some of the thought process about this as well. Because we are public service, that's how we look at the work. And so thank you all, honestly, for just being willing to be a part of this. And it is, I would be lying to you if I told you it was not complicated or not a huge lift. And I don't want to betray how much time and effort it takes just to even be in front of you all today. But it's just important work. It's important work, and from our standpoint too, especially with digital accessibility. I think no, it's not. I know people are struggling with this everywhere in terms of what's accessible and what's not, and we're not even having the conversations about it. So even just that we're in front of you all to have a conversation about it, I'm really grateful to Lila and to Tori for even making space for us to be able to do this, because I know this is important. I know it's important also in the communities, in different sets of communities too, right? Like, what is quite possible? What is possible? What do we need for your community? And I think it's very, very important to speak on that and to say that. So I'll speak for myself. I feel more empowered after coming in and talking to you all. Time went by. It's already 7 o'clock. I didn't even know it's going to be that talking that long. But I think as well, just as I wrap up, just me talking, unless there's more questions. We really are partners in this work, and so please feel free to connect with us if you have ideas or concerns or anything else. Like, we're here, and we're also here. It's just we love what we do, and in loving what we do, we also want to find the answers to help out as well. So please feel free to connect with us, and to hold us accountable too. I was thinking about that as well. Like, hold us accountable to the work, because that's what we're supposed to do.
Thank you.
All right, this is going to be the last call for questions or feedback. Going once, going twice. All right. Thank you, Mr. Carter, for presenting today and for that important information. That will conclude our presentation for this evening, and we'll move into announcements. If anybody has announcements to share with the group, please feel free to raise your hand. Anita.
Oh, a couple of things. The Minneapolis Park Board is talking about a closure of the parkway system to cars, which is an impact to individuals who are non-ambulatory and elderly who use the parkway to avoid main heavier congested traffic. And so that's something that the community in North Minneapolis has been working on, because the park board made this decision and a proposal to do a study without any input from the communities who will be affected by that. And the second thing is Hennepin County's looking to well, they've already downsized by 100 beds, downtown Minneapolis Hospital, and they've already closed several of their services, including the senior or gerontology clinics, which is something that I've been working with some of the seniors in Minneapolis because those closures are affecting them. Some of those clinics, specifically for seniors who've been going for years, who've created relationships with their doctors and their nurses, and it's on the bus line, it's easy to get to. They know the people, they feel comfortable. They have the services that are specifically towards their needs as we get older. And so those are just two things that we're working on in Minneapolis right now, and specifically in the North area.
Thank you for sharing, Anita. And if folks were interested in more information, can they reach out to you to get involved?
Yes.
Thank you for that. Mitchell Hansen.
I'm not sure what falls in announcements. I guess I just want to say, so where I work with Harrison Neighborhood Association, and just what I do generally is I'm supporting a lot of people right now that are looking at mass evictions. And the trend that I've seen from people is mostly like a month behind. A lot of people that are coming in are about a month behind in utilities, and that's basically I'd say 85% of people. So I just want to encourage people in terms of like donations and organizing. I know St. Paul did a great thing and they extended their deadline, but in Minneapolis, we are looking at a really big crisis, and a lot of these people just need a little bit of support and a little bit, just for a month, and I guess that's been really frustrating because I had 3 people all come in today that only needed about $1,200, and it's and just to get by. So I'm not trying to get political about it. I just if you have networks or people are donating, I would just highly encourage people to please keep donating, and please, it's seeing it on the ground. It's not this people owe $5,000 or $3,000. It's people that are now getting back to work. It's people that are have support. They just need a little bit of help. And we're shouldering a lot of it emotionally, financially, and we're happy to do it. And we're getting funding from Hennepin County, but that money goes fast. So I just want to encourage people to continue to organize and to donate and to find places too, because there are so many people that are just this close to getting their rent paid. But if they don't, I think we all know the repercussions. So I just wanted to point that out. That's what I'm seeing on the ground. That's just a fact of what I'm witnessing. So please stay in the fight, and help as much as you can, because, a $500 donation can be the difference between loss of generational wealth and extreme hardship and a family keeping their apartment. So thank you.
Thank you for that announcement, Mitchell. Do we have other announcements?
I just want to come in and say that we did not establish quorum, so we will have to approve the minutes next meeting for this meeting and for the last meeting.
Thank you for that update. All right. Seeing no other announcements, we'll proceed to adjournment. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So
So
move.
move.
All right, we have 2. Thank you for that motion, Anita, and for that second, Mitchell. All those in favor, raise your hand or say aye.
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 All righty, any opposed? Nope. So with that, we will call our meeting concluded at 7:14 p.m. Thank you all for your participation this evening. And thank you again, Mr. Scotty Carter, for that presentation.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
Take
you.
care. Have a good
Bye-bye.
evening.
Thank you. Have a good night.